Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about a very exciting market in Brazil. The clicker. Like we discussed before, in some ways, actually, Brazil is leapfrogging some of the more mature markets, and I think there's a lot of very interesting things happening, and also very interesting for us as the leading classifieds marketplace, how to take advantage of these trends and respond to what's happening in the market. Trying to get this to work. Yes. So this is OLX Brazil. Not all our team could make it. Had some COVID problems on the way also. But basically, we are the leading marketplace in Brazil with two very strong shareholders. On the one side, we have Adevinta, which most of you know is one of the leading marketplaces groups in Europe, and Prosus on the other side, one of the leading consumer internet groups in the world. And this 50-50 joint venture is because in 2015 we merged the two largest horizontal classified sites into a very clear leader. And afterwards we started to go into both the cars and the real estate vertical. We became a very clear leader in cars very rapidly. And 1.5 years ago, with the acquisition of Zap and Viva Real, we also became the leader in real estate. And so this has been a journey. It is very interesting for me. I already worked with classifieds in Europe before, and it was a very different challenge than in Brazil. In Europe, it was a lot about moving existing behavior from offline to online. Whilst in Brazil, everybody told me this is never ever going to work. It doesn't fit to our culture. We don't buy and sell used goods. So it was a culture change which we needed to achieve. So when I first came to Brazil in 2010. Only 10% of the Brazilians had ever sold something used. And we're now kind of halfway down the way. Already 50% has sold online. And there's still a lot of people we're convincing to change their behavior. And it has a very positive impact on the society, on the economy, on users, both on the buyer and the seller, and also on the environment. So we already have immense trading volumes. If you look last year, we had over 100 million people either buying or selling on the platform and really converting. That's half of the Brazilian population. Huge volume in trades also, 220 billion reais. Not everybody knows this, about $40 million. And also by nearly complete database of all the properties for sale in Brazil, more than 6 million. So it's really big volumes, but that's not everything. Also, if you look at the impact we have on the environment, 7 million tons of CO2 that are taken out of the emissions because reusing goods or cars has a huge impact on not having to produce new things and throw things away. So it's a very big part also of the mission we see as people in the company. And just looking at the market position we have, so after the acquisition of Zap and Viva Real, we now own the 3 largest real estate portals in the country. With OLX as the horizontal has a very large real estate section, and Zap and Viva Real as the 2 leading verticals. I think interesting to see here also is that Quinto Andar and Loft are the 2 transactional players that we talked about, who have also really invest very, very heavily in building a brand and have a consumer audience which is already getting close to many of the classifieds players. Right? So it's a very interesting development, which over time could also threaten our business, but also gives us a lot of opportunities. And Quinto Andar also recently acquired Imóvel, the number 4. So there's definitely some consolidation going on in the market. If you look at autos, OLX is clear leader. So this is just the horizontal autos category, both in inventory and audience. And the 2 biggest competitors here, e-Carros and Webmotors, are owned by the banks, which also illustrates the importance of financing in Brazil. Brazil is one of the most attractive financing markets, one of the highest banking spreads in the world, and also one of the highest shares of of vehicles and properties that are financed. Also here we're seeing a transactional player entering, Kavak, still very early days for them in Brazil. They recently entered, but also they are investing heavily to build a brand in Brazil. So looking at some of the numbers, we've had a very nice journey of growth. When we merged in 2015, we were not really monetizing yet, but then we started to monetize the business, first mostly C2C and then also B2C. And you see that both in real estate, cars and goods, we've had over 50-60% annual growth. And also our recent acquisition of Zaap and Vivareal, which was a business that was not growing. There were about flat growth during those 3 years. We managed to accelerate that, and they're now growing at over 40% per year. So we have a really clear track record of growing a classifieds business, and we still see a lot of growth runway ahead, which has also helped us to become profitable. Like I think 1 year ago, nobody would have shown this slide, but now suddenly profit is sexy again. So we also managed to turn this business into a profitable one. But yeah, this is only just the beginning. If you compare our current revenues to the GMV, this shows we only have 0.5% of take rate, which makes a lot of sense because we only play a very small role in the value chain. But we believe we can grow this a lot, right? So we think we still have a lot of growth runway in the traditional B2C classifieds business, expanding our service, offering more intelligence to real estate agents and car dealers. We have a lot of data solutions, software solutions, and to really help them grow their business, and then that way also expand our role. We want to get much closer to the transaction, and we'll talk a lot about that today, to really offer much more convenient and safe user experience to our users. They're really demanding that. They've all used Uber and Amazon, and they really expect that the buying and selling a car should be as easy as ordering an Uber. So we're still quite far away from that, and we really have to help our dealers and us together to offer this seamless experience to our users. And fintech, like I mentioned, is a huge opportunity in Brazil, and really getting closer to transaction also enables us to have more and more impact on that financing decision. So just to start with the why do we need to go closer to transaction? Is to solve the huge pain points that exist in the Brazilian both real estate and car markets, right? So if you just look at real estate, it's a huge market, a huge commission pool, and I think solving some of these pain points is a huge opportunity, right? So I think one of the biggest pain points is just the lack of transparency and knowledge of prices. There's a huge gap in the expectation of prices of the buyers and the sellers, and that generates very low liquidity. So often properties are for sale for 1.5 or more years. Also, the journey is very fragmented with many handovers between online and offline, and it's very inefficient. So the financing process is extremely bureaucratic and slow, which basically leaves the buyer and the seller in limbo for several months when they don't know whether the transaction will really go ahead. And also in rentals, there's a lot of friction with people having to either have several properties to guarantee the rental, or need to pay a very high price for an insurance. And also the brokers and agents are not happy. Yeah? So the users have a lot of pains and frustration, and the brokers and agents also are suffering from low productivity and profitability. So they're not making a lot of money if you look across the whole cycle. They're having also the problem with the lack of liquidity. And the operations are extremely complex, especially if you look at the rentals. There is a very manual process that is really loss-making for most real estate agents. So how do we see that we can solve this? And we really want to build on top of our existing skills with portals, with classifieds, and rent management, and really add a lot of services on top to really help our clients, the real estate agents, to really digitalize their business and offer the financial products that are needed to really make this transaction go much faster, right? And like I mentioned, there are several digital real estate agents in the market, like Quinto Andar and Loft, that have really pioneered a much more smooth consumer experience. But they only capture a small part of the market now, right? So this is really a challenge to bring this same experience to the consumers at scale and really digitalize the entire market, and that requires a lot of software solutions, it requires a lot of data and intelligence, and also a lot of financial solutions. And some of them we're building in-house, some of them we're acquiring, and some of them we're offering together with partners. And this is, I think, really good for the entire ecosystem, right? So really helping these brokers and agents that are really worried about how are we going to keep up with all these tech companies, with the market is moving so fast, and really helping to digitalize them at scale. And also, we're finally able to offer this streamlined user experience where people can basically now enter into Zap, really book a visit online, negotiate the contract online, close it, get the rental guarantee, and really have this seamless end-to-end process with any real estate agent in Brazil. So that's a big game changer in the market. And also, we are starting to capture more value from the real estate transactions. If we get into the sale, into the monthly rental collections, this really allows us to develop totally new business models, right? And not depend anymore on the traditional monthly subscription, which has worked very well for us in the past, but in the long term, it really does not align us as much with our clients as we would like to. And also, we are a great partner channel, right? So there's many ancillary services, not just financing, but many other services that we are the ideal channel for, right? So at volume, and the closer we get to the transaction, we can really influence those purchasing decisions. So that was real estate, right? And I can answer some more questions about that later, but I also wanted to talk about cars, which are our second most important market. Brazil is a huge car market, and also very much driven by used cars. I think the used car market is much bigger than the new car market. And we still expect there will be huge growth of car ownership in the future in Brazil, despite all the mobility trends that are happening. Because car ownership is still relatively low, we expect the traditional used and new car market to continue to grow over the next 5 years. And a big part of the used car market goes via dealers. So you typically have the private sellers. Some of them sell directly to other consumers, and of course we as a horizontal portal are a big part of that market. But often the cars end up being sold via a dealer, even if they are first offered by a private. And that's something, the C2B is something that we play a very big role in, and it's something that happened in a very unstructured way in the past, but we are structuring more and more. And the dealers are really core. There's also quite big fleet sellers, especially the car rental companies, which typically sell directly to the private buyers. And basically, there's also quite some B2B activity going on, where dealers sell to other dealers in other regions, or also the resale vehicles. So, but there's a lot of friction in this market, right? So. Private sellers are really often not happy when they sell to the dealer that they don't get the price they were expected. They get a lot of spam from dealers that want to buy their cars. There's a lot of concerns about safety and bureaucracy. The dealers are also really suffering from margin pressure. Also, taxes have been increasing. And what they're most worried about is this whole digitalization of the market, right? It's moving extremely fast. They typically don't have the scale to digitalize this business and compete against some of the new entrants like Kavak, that of course have much bigger tech capabilities than they do. Big challenge over the past 2 years in Brazil, just like everywhere else, has been sourcing vehicles, and it also makes this C2B channel extremely important. And also working capital in the current macro environment is becoming more of a challenge. And private buyers have, financing has been a big challenge for them. C2C financing is extremely difficult, but even B2C financing is cumbersome and very, very bureaucratic. Safety is a concern, car reliability, and also bureaucracy. So how do we want to solve that? And also, I think key point here is the consumer needs are really changing, right? So we saw during the pandemic huge growth in the number of consumers that want to buy online. So these are numbers from Brazil that increased from 37% to 70%. The people who would like to purchase cars in 100% digital process. And also interesting, this convenience and safety, people are willing to pay for it. So you ask people, would you accept receiving less for the car you're selling to get more safety? And 1/3 of the users want that. So there's a lot of people on OLX who really want the best price possible, and that's also the nature of the C2C public. They really like to do it themselves. But there's also a big part that really would like this additional convenience and are willing to get a little bit less for their car. And the same on the buy side. People, actually, what I want to sell. The same on this, the speed. If people are willing to sell faster for a less price. So there's also something that, we're giving a lot of recommendations now to sellers. To recommend them a price, also based on their specific needs, on how quickly they want to sell, what kind of level of convenience they want, because the perfect price is not an objective number in the market. It also depends a lot on what you want as a seller. So OLX is really well placed to do this thing together with the dealers. We are by far the largest partner of the dealers, and also as only one really present in the entire country. So what we have developed and are still improving on is basically a solution that is C2B and B2C. Actually, it is wrong here on the side. It shouldn't say C2C, but C2B. It's really a process where this thing that was already happening on our site, where dealers were calling all our private sellers, we're really automating that and making it much more efficient and much more digital. So we make it very simple for the private seller to post their car, get a digital car history report, and also do a self inspection of the vehicle using our app. And then you have an automatic bidding process that the dealers can configure based on what profile of cars they want, and also based on their distance, it calculates the cost of the transport. And that way, they can automatically bid for cars. And basically, when this connection is made, this whole process with partners, the car is picked up, and the seller gets the cash. So it's a very fast and seamless experience, which is very comparable to what some of the digital car dealers can often offer without us ever taking ownership of the car. We really take care of what we are good at, is having a huge number of private sellers and dealers, connecting them with technology and making this very simple and efficient. And on the B2C side, we're also really helping dealers to offer a good digital B2C experience. I think many dealers are still not ready for that. They're still very much used to the offline sales model and getting people into their shop and selling them. They're extremely good at that. But like we heard before, the vast majority of consumers start their journey online, and the better you can really respond to their leads and even close the sale online, the more sales you make. So also there, we provide them with e-commerce solution and financing solutions to really close this deal quickly. I think there was some discussions before about sharing the financing commission. What we see in Brazil is not so much of a challenge. There is enough commission to share. The challenge is much more just making the sale much quicker and more efficient, and taking away a lot of the bureaucracy in the process. And then dealers are extremely happy to also share the commission in there. So I think many of these frictions we talked about, of course, are very obvious, and I think everybody's seen them in many of the markets. And there's a lot of VC capital flowing into Brazil to address these opportunities with startups. We also believe that we, as a traditional classifieds business, have an extremely good chance to solve these problems really at scale, right? Because we have this leading audience and consumer brand. We really have an innovation capacity and a scale in tech that really allows us to innovate really fast, and also M&A is something that we're extremely good at, and we've shown that we've been able to really acquire companies integrating into our proposition and accelerate their growth. We are a leading partner already of the professionals, which allow us to really grow at scale. Right? So we don't have the customer acquisition costs that new startups have. And we have this execution track record of really also making this into a profitable business, which is also increasingly important. So yeah, we're really excited about this opportunity. We see there's a lot of interest in these opportunities of transactional in Brazil, and it only makes us more excited as we have as the incumbent are in the right place. We really need to push the accelerator and make sure that we grab this opportunity before new entrants have the time to also build the same skill that we have. So thank you very much, and let's go to questions.
So, if I can get this on my ear again. So let's start at the top. So how does Grupo's app work with OLX Real Estate? How do they actually interplay?
Yeah, so from a consumer perspective, they work very separately. So there's different consumer segments actually go to the vertical and to the horizontal, and also different parts of their search journey. But on the B2B side, we're totally integrated. So when we go to a real estate agents, we present us as one group, and the real estate agents can use the same professional tools, the same feed system to post automatically on all three sites. So that gives huge convenience and really allows us to basically be the clear leading proposition for real estate agents. And basically we're adding a lot more services also on top of that. We have Data Zap, which is a leading data solution, CRM systems, and a lot of education, also extremely important. There's a lot of rotation in the market, a lot of new brokers coming online, so they really need a lot of education to develop their business. So we're really making one package that's really the only thing real estate agents need to grow their business.
So talking about data, how does data really help OLX, and what are kind of the most interesting things you're doing with data at the moment?
So one really important thing is, of course, data about the market, about the cars and the real estate market, to know about supply, demand, prices, and to be able to give advice to the professionals, and it goes from many different dimensions. Professionals in the real estate on where to build properties, on real estate agents to give advice to their clients on how much to ask for a property. It's the banks using our valuation tool to value property for their financing, and also advice to consumers to know how much to ask for a car or real estate, or also what are the best deals for them. So there's a lot of intelligence around that. But also extremely important is the consumer data, right? So and we're really working on integrating all these different visions we have from the user, right? So we look at the user from risk perspective to understand is he a fraudster, is he a good credit risk, but also from a marketing perspective to understand where he is in the journey and what to recommend to him, and basically. Integrating all that is extremely interesting, right? Because we get a really rich picture of the user, and we believe that will be extremely important also in future to capture these financing opportunities which a lot of people talked about.
Brilliant. Are you concerned with Quinto Andar owning Imovoweb that your leadership as a real estate portal is now threatened in a different way?
For sure. Quinto Andar with Imovoweb are a strong player, right? So we are still significantly bigger, both in number of properties and the consumer audience. But we need to be really fast, right? And also, make sure that we consolidate our position, because just having 3 large portals is not as good as having one very clear leader. So that's something we're working on to really make sure that we consolidate that. And also, while we're still the biggest, to really make sure that we offer this very deep, convenient, and safe experience, so that we can basically be the best of both worlds and have the best experience and the biggest scale.
I'm going to insert a question here, which is the parallel kind of question in a way on the cars side. I mean, Kavak, last time there were relative valuations available, seems to be the second most valuable cars e-commerce business around the globe. Mm-hmm. Who's now your key competitor? Is it Kavak or is it Webmotors still?
Good question. Yeah, I think Kavak has the potential to become very big in Brazil. I think we've not seen it yet, and we also don't know, with the current market environment, whether they want to go as aggressive into the market as maybe they were planning a year ago. But I think it's definitely a threat, because we are really depending on having many fragmented car dealers in Brazil, and if they could really gain a big market share, I think they will make our portal less relevant. But also, I don't think even in more mature market you really see the market consolidating to a large extent, even with big players like Carvana in the market. So we believe that the market is so capital intensive and so local that there will continue to be a huge number of local car dealers with an important role. And that's really our challenge, to help them to digitalize, become more efficient, and offer a better experience, so they can basically compete against Kavak. And then we don't think that Kavak will really be able to scale to really significantly impact our business.
Simon, can we go with one more, or are we... One more. Top of the list, because lots of people voted for it. How do you protect your data from competitors, and are they trying to use your data against you?
Yeah, I think that's something that maybe we've not always been as good at. I think we are, of course, by far the biggest player, and a lot of the new entrants into the market, the first thing they do is scrape OLX and contact all our users. So that's definitely a challenge, I think, that a lot of classifieds business around the world have. But we are becoming much and much better at that, at really protecting our users from spam, from all these businesses that scrape them and contact the users. And I think users also accept to have a much more closed ecosystem maybe than 10 years ago, right? So now they accept to really have a logged-in environment with limitations on the number of messages sent that allow us to really protect them from competitors accessing them.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Are you around the next couple of days?
Yes.
Because there are lots of questions here. Please come talk to Andries and ask him your questions directly. Sorry we didn't have time for all of them. Thank you.
Thank you.